Thanks for attending. It's absolutely awesome to see so many people here paying interest to this interesting area at the moment. And I just wanted to kind of open up some of the challenges that we face here in Finland and ask your help today to make sure we make some way to achieving knocking down some of those challenges. On the screen here, you can see some of the immediate comments that tend to come from infrastructure investment into the data center industry. And they're common and they are challenging, all of them, and probably too negative a start for today. But I wanted to confront fairly simply some of those criticisms and challenges so that you kind of understand what we're hoping to achieve and why I'm asking you to help us achieve that. So I double-clicked the slide because I'm trying to catch up a little bit of time. We had a technical problem at the beginning, but basically I like our industry because people get things fairly fast, and that helps me catch up time. Because if you look at the bottom there, and we're looking at industrialization of the data center industry and providing data storage as a capacity, as a utility for people to expect to have, increasingly that will become more and more automated and more industrial. And at the moment, a very large DC investor indicated to us that roughly a 20 megawatt facility is going to create something like 40 jobs, and those platforms working inside are creating 120 jobs, and at the top, consulting, software, services is providing a greater amount. And I think everybody in this room knows in the future that challenge at the bottom there is even more so. So that for Finland right now is a big issue for us to confront. And the reason, just to open up in very simple terms, the reason we have a data center room, a digital services room, and a gamification room is we recognize that our challenge is to make sure that there is a degree of stickiness between there and there, because there is competency here in Finland, and you only have to look around you today to see there's an abundance of competency. But the most important thing is we take advantage in Finland here of the fact that the world is looking right now. There is no denial of that. You can see from the recent investments, maybe some future investments, that this area is on the global stage in the Nordics right now. And that's, to be frank, why 600 people have registered today, because it's a hot topic. So what we tried to do is get those different areas of the pyramid, and this is a very simplistic slide, I completely accept that, but certainly going into the future, it's looking like services, technology and utilities, and less jobs down here, but far more up there, and of course our end users, which include us, are there right at the top. So the challenge for us is to get that stickiness. So if I had a magic wand right now, I would wave my magic wand and I would send all of you, by the way, digital services room, I hope you can see me, good morning, and you guys in the gamification room, I hope you can see me too. I would like to wave that magic wand and all of a sudden, all of you guys here in the infrastructure data center area would be magically transported into the digital services room. And vice versa, start shifting around some of these people, because ultimately suppliers, customers, you're all in one building today, and you've seen that we have a meeting manager system, and it just boggles the mind to think potentially how many strategic partnerships and how many business cases could be sitting in this room right now, and the only inhibitor to that is how many of you identify that. So I'm absolutely imploring you, please, to use the meeting system and get amongst these meeting rooms and go face-to-face with people that traditionally, when you have a data center event, maybe aren't there. And traditionally, when you have a gaming event, maybe you guys are not at that event. So that's the challenge. The challenge for us is to get stickiness and start generating more jobs. My role, Digitice's role, as you will hear further in the day, and I'm not going to go on about that, you have a program to look at. My role is to try and generate more business inside of Finland for our Finnish companies who have competencies. And not only generate business, but give them the support, services, and preconditions that helps them to do that fast. There are other people who have a role that control things that we have no control over. And those are things like taxation and general governmental state of play. So if we all acknowledge that that's the main objective of this day today, that means that we've got to make some face-to-face meetings. So I'm absolutely not offended if everyone wants to go now and start meeting people. 4 tracks going on today, a lot of key players. Have a look around, some companies, organisations and innovators who recognise that we need this growth, who recognise we need to translate that investment into infrastructure further up the pyramid to see both profit and structurally. So it's a company-led driver and it's a structural government-led driver. I'm going to make the challenge that I think, having visited many of these kind of events myself, one of the disappointments is normally with myself that I didn't meet enough people afterwards. Another disappointment is, and I think we've all heard it before, loads of vendors, no customers. It was an event where I met loads of vendors all selling to me, but I didn't meet my customers. Well, we just think about it. I'm going to challenge buyers in the room. I'm going to challenge buyers today to use this one moment in time to get out there and do what you do every day. I don't doubt you do it every day, but just take this opportunity and help us to achieve this stickiness up the pyramid. The stickiness is that buyers out here have to know where things are today and where they're going in the future to make good decisions. There are plenty of people out here that want to make sure you know they're looking at the future, but they're also presenting to you what there is now. So my challenge is to the buyers of you that are in here is please get out there and give these people the opportunity to learn from what you know, but maybe pick out things that you haven't managed to get so far, because everybody is willing to talk, I'm sure. I think there is a DNA change in the welcome to the event. I mentioned the possibility of an aggressive waiting policy. And I don't mean that in an offensive way to everybody, but I think we've laughed in Finland, and I say we. I've lived here 5 years. It's an amazing place. Come and live and work here. It's amazing. And I'm not going anywhere unless you kick me out. But what I would say is there is a need for a DNA change. There is a lot of component offerings. It's very hard to find a single solution. And I'll give an example. In US, sitting face to face in the Valley talking to one customer, they said, okay, if I come to Finland, is there someone who'll pick the whole thing up for me? And they gave me an example of a product that was offered actually by a construction company in Finland, and they said, that product is what I want. Because I can pick the phone up and say, how much per megawatt? And the answer is, well, what specification do you want? Dum, 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 answer. And what they meant by that, how much per megawatt, was everything. Construction, legals, planning, consulting, IT, everything. Ask the question, do we make it easy for the buyer here in Finland? Can we make it easier? Do we make it easier for our own domestic market to buy? Do we make buying IT easy? Is there a value in collaboration? Of course there are moments for NDA discussion, sensitivity of pricing, but I have never bought anything on the internet when I didn't know the price, ever. I don't know if you have. If you have too much money. Absolutely, I want to know what is the price, and can you give the price? You can give the price of your component. This is what I feel we absolutely have to do. And the story of Digitice, I said I wouldn't preach to you about it, it's in the program, but the story of Digitice is fast, not slow, not planning a strategy over the next 5 years. Somebody else is doing that. But if you look carefully, we have a very short window here where decisions are being made at the bottom of that pyramid about large investments. Internally, we are going to benefit far more if we take advantage of that showcase and we bring our products, services and localization expertise to the table and give the buyer the opportunity to see it. So, catch the moment. I kind of know you understand what I mean by that, and I'm not trying to talk up our event because you'll make what you want of it. I understand. But there are all of these people from these different elements in the room today. Please take the moment, communicate, find those strategic partnerships, find those competitive advantages, find the collaboration, but more importantly, find the business cases fast. So Digitice 2015 to 2017, what is this guy and his team? And I've got an amazing team. I hope you meet lots of them today. What are we trying to do? Who are we? Are we trying to make profit? The profit, we're effectively working for regional government, but we realise in our region we cannot do this alone. We absolutely realise we have some competencies in our region, and in your regions and in other regions, you have competencies we don't have. You have products and services we don't have. We have to collaborate together to make the whole offering here stickier further up the pyramid. Absolute fact. And we don't need to spend 4 years planning it but not delivering anything. We need to deliver it today, but also be planning in the background. So please do not think that what we are doing is purely a marketing exercise. Marketing is one component of this, I accept that. But underneath there, we have amazing partners in the room today. We have amazing sponsors. There are universities, there are training organisations, there are commercial entities wanting to make a profit. The profit I need to make is to grow the ecosystem and the business case so Finland gets more tax. I, again, can go fairly fast through this. This is about 4 years ago when we started with a kind of different name, and I don't want you to think that's me claiming these are all members of Digitice. In the very middle there is Digitice, and some of those on the outside are members. But this is the kind of, maybe you can't see it so well, so sorry it's a small slide, but all the different business areas within our sector and the different levels of the pyramid. For example, up the top there's education. There are business cases in there, and business cases, as I said to us, are either profitability for our member companies, or new business for our member companies, or structural benefit, creation of new jobs, raise tax revenues. That's a target for my structural cluster building. And inside of there, one very fast example, we had a large data center operator saying, I'm having difficulty getting the right people to work for me. I've got a number of open vacancies. I'm seeing people that can go like this, but they can't go like that. And I'm seeing people that can go like that, but they can't go like this. It would be lovely if I could find the people that can do both of those. So we then, not Digitice, we're not a training organisation, we went to one of our members and we said, can you train people? And they said, yes, we're very good at it actually. We run data centre, these people courses. And then we went to another training organisation who do postgraduate education, and we brought the two together and we wrote a quick plan. And we then said we need some funding for this. And we went to some companies out here, some of you are here, and we said, we want to try and solve this so that you've got the people that do this and can do this. And they said, yeah, that's good. And we'd like them to know about our kit too, so that they know how to use, when they do this, they can use our kit, and when they do this, they can use our software or whatever it might be. So we went there, we put that together, we went to the companies, they said, hey, we'll give some teachers as well. We'll come and talk and train these guys for you. After about 6 months, it started. We have an organisation in here that are joining us today, we have a university in here joining us today, and we have commercial organisations. The result is, that course started, at the end of it, we ran it in Finnish. At the end of it, somebody said, you really need to be running this in English. We're going to need some more teachers to do this because it's not very usual. There isn't this availability around Europe. There's quite a lot of people wanting to come and do this right now. It's just one example that something over here in one location, actually this location was nowhere near where I am working. It was in another part of Finland, and the training was somewhere else. But when you put it all together, there's a business case, both structurally and commercially. Commercially, the guys learning are getting used to using your equipment, and structurally, we need more teachers, more training, more jobs, people to deliver that demand. One example. Another example might be somebody who, for example, is here, a member, making LED tubes, very efficient LED tubes too. Very small part of the consumption in a data center, totally accept. But that, from one sector into another sector transfer, as they introduced those LED tubes to data center operators who said, well, they're kind of nice, it's a bit of window dressing, but we'll give them a try. When they got them going, they actually said, these are pretty good. The ROI is pretty good on this, and I only take the old one out and put the new one in. Wonder if you should use that in my head office. Talk to the head office says, yeah, we'll give them a trial. Order on the table, finished company, one industry, from manufacturing through to another industry. I think that is demonstration of an ecosystem working. But equally, it also makes it very easy for a buyer to step into a cluster and say, I need something, and not expect the cluster guys to deliver it, but know that those component companies have expertise to deliver it, and that is generating a healthy ecosystem. And that's our challenge in Finland, to transfer huge billions of dollars of investments into power real estate, where one guy in the future is going to be sitting watching a panel. Okay, I overstate that, but you get what I'm saying, to an area where somebody's got to be making that software and advising which software should be used to make sure that data center does run like that. We have to get that stickiness. And actually, we've watched our ecosystem growing. If you want to have a look at the theory of cluster value creation, there is a presentation from VTT later today. It's by a mathematician, and I got past the second slide and started to glaze over a little bit, but what I will say to you is there is no formula for this. There is a long-term view. We haven't got time for a long-term view. My team knows, you saw the dates on Digitice, my team knows short-term view get a result while we're planning and making the long-term view clear. And does anyone feel the long-term view is clear? Our next presenter is going to talk about the long-term view, and in my opinion, one thing is clear, and that's it's unclear. That's my opinion. So, reap a return in 10 years, plant trees, get it in 100, cultivate the people. Clever guy. Some of you have heard of him. He's got more weight than me, other than physical weight, and I thought I'd use his quote rather than me say it. We need to expand the tax base, we need to generate high quality jobs, we need to strengthen regional IT, we need to leverage existing knowledge base, drive small business growth, corporate attraction, nurture positive technology images. The important thing is, there are people doing this. I don't feel our role is to replace that. Absolutely, there are people that know what they're doing in government, in regional government, in national government, making the right environment to make a data center investment. Totally awesome. I mean, I stand here now feeling like I've got the best back pocket and up my sleeve of anybody globally, certainly Nordics, because the Finnish government is committed to this industry. They've made huge tax breaks for this industry. They've made huge investment into growing the infrastructure, and the precedents are there. They want this business, but we also recognise everybody in here has a different agenda, but all has a common goal. This is not a Winston Churchill speech rallying the troops. This is just a statement of fact. The statement of fact is that level is not enough. We need to do more. It's good commercially and it's good structurally. So that's what we're trying to achieve today. It's why you're sitting at an event that on first take is a little bit confused. They've got gamification and they've got digital service and they've got data center. Which hall am I in? There is no lunch break. It's running all day. I'm quite happy if the presentations are half full because I know the others are in the meeting room face to face. Please take that advantage. We are in the spotlight in Finland. Some of you have come here today because you know that this is a competitive proposition right now. We have an excellent team. We're putting the team together for the future. We have Team Finland who are promoting and setting the environment together with the government to make this a good place to be, make it a good place to invest, and to confront the challenges that are there ahead. And they are doing a great job, and we are working with them with the same common goal, but a different agenda. We have to combine our strengths. We're in the spotlight. We haven't got time to make a plan about a plan so we can think about delivering the plan. We have to take the immediate steps. That's why you're here. That's what we're doing. When in my earlier life, I was a submariner, and a submariner learns very early that there are no passengers. At the front end, you have the torpedo room. In the control room, you're controlling all the sensor information. On a diesel submarine, at the back end, you've got the electrical motors and the diesel generators, motors charging the batteries, generators charging the batteries, and then the batteries powering the motors. All those components come together to make that a stealthy, mean fighting machine. So much so that it's pretty hard to detect, and they do say there are two types of ships, submarines and targets. You can get why I'm standing here and saying we are not going to make the mistake here in Finland of component provision only. I totally understand there are business cases that are component offerings, but the holistic view has to be that Finland also can produce the complete picture based on competency. And the only way we'll build competency and competitiveness, the only way we'll be able to do that is by engaging with many of the speakers that we've got here today, future technologies and the people that are doing it, and bringing our strengths in that area to the front. When I was in those submarine days, I used to come back for 3 weeks, and the first thing I used to do is dream that one day I'd have my own business. My qualification is that I've had 2 failed businesses. In America, that's a woo! In Finland, it's a, I think there's a Finnish phrase, something about the light has gone out in the oven. One of the things I see, and I talked about DNA change, is the fear of failure is big. But the fear of success in Finland is also quite large too, because there is this worry that if you're successful, everyone wants to knock you down. And what that promotes is mediocrity. And when I say there needs to be that means that it promotes you to sit somewhere in the middle. Not risk-taking, but not totally safe, but somewhere in the middle. I have absolutely no doubt the reason I love living here is the potential growth here is awesome. We're in the spotlight right now. So when I got back from my submarine, the first thing I was dreaming of is starting my own business. And somebody helped me with the Finnish. I think it's Leona, Dragon's Den. Leona, what is the second word? It's a TV program. Wait, sorry? Thank you, Leona Luoma. I used to get back, used to put the television on, and this guy used to stand up, and I have to say, he put the fear of God in me, and it was almost, at that stage, it was, I'm not going to do this. But then, in time, I was listening to what was being said, and I was realizing that if somebody doesn't go right to the point really early on and help you make the decision, go or stop, you're going to make a mistake. And of course, you have to find your own mistakes too. This gentleman has a reputation of being very direct, and I'm absolutely sure he'll be very direct. And I'm going to ask Doug Richards to take the stage, Doug, and bring us up to date with how he sees the future. And I'd like you to give a warm welcome for Doug.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.